Hey guys, this was supposed to be a boss run, but I ran into this, which, as some new players might have seen, Shambler's Altar. It says, the sacrifice of fire is the gate to ruin. Place a torch if you crave the void. First time I read that, I didn't see the void part, so I was like, oh, place a torch. How nice. So I placed a torch in there and got the surprise of my life. Now that I have a fully leveled team, and I am ready to take this on, I'm going to give this another try. I have been Shambler a couple times previous to this, but never on the champion level. So, wish me luck. Ooh, Shambler. My team setup is not the best for this because my trinket wise, I had sun rings on, which obviously I had to take off for this because he always throws you into pitch dark. I did camp in the after I found the altar. I did go camp in the next room so that I can come back and fight this with my full force. So let's see how this works. This is my favorite team to run with Heli in the front line, Man at Arms, Occultist, and Highwayman. The reason for Highwayman is just because he does so much damage on clearing trash mobs. So hopefully I can show you guys how this team works. So the Occultist and the Highwayman got swapped there, but it's not going to be too big of a deal. I'm going to try to increase the dodge here, just so I can take my turns faster than Shambler can. Hopefully that comes into play later. So he has 78% bleed effect, so I'm between the option of a higher crit or the chance of bleeding. And I think my chance of bleeding is small enough that I'm just going to go for higher crits. Because if I get lucky and manage to end this fight quickly, that'd be much better. The occultist can be using artillery if he's moved back, but currently he's in the front, so we're gonna just use weakening curse on him, trying to get his damage down. So that's one debuff, good. So that should make this hurt a little bit less. Oh boy. So this positioning actually works out really nicely for me. So this is part of why Hellion is so good. She's able to attack from various positions. We're able to do the weakening curse again. And the best part here is actually going to be my Highwayman, who's able to do point blank shot in this current position. And that should hit him for quite a bit. If this crits, it's going to be amazing. Just kidding. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons I like Highwayman, because when he's in the incorrect position, he's actually able to position himself fairly well. So if he's in the front, he can do point blank shot. If he's in the back, he can do I forgot what it's called, but the dash attack that allows him to move forward. So the Shambler is going to be in this position, so he's still occupying rank 3. So that's great. We can just keep using if it bleeds on her. I would prefer to use Iron Swan, but unfortunately my Hellion's not in the front. So here, hopefully I can show you guys the power. Highwayman would be a little bit better if I had the Sun Ring, but there's like just 20 damage in that second position. So great damage AoE, able to hit everything at once. So it's definitely something to give a try. I actually haven't seen as many people use Highwayman. Personally, he's one of my favorite. But just keep in mind, like, you really want to go for this. If you can find this in one of the boss fights, definitely go for it before you really do that much with Highwayman, because he's not as good without the plus damage buffs. Anyways, so I'm just gonna keep bolstering from the back line. You might have seen this in my other teams where I just kind of spam bolster. My team setup has a fair amount of dodge, and as you can see there, having the dodge will, often make the round much easier. So now I don't really have to heal, right? So far I haven't even healed this fight, just because I'm able to kill the small adds as well as weaken the Shambler while I nuke it down. So this fight is going pretty well. Managed to get a really safe setup here. I could have gotten rid of the Blight, but my general theory on Blight management is I don't do it unless it's on a squishy, a hero with low HP. Yeah, so if the Blight was on someone like my Highwayman, I would just immediately get rid of it with the Antidote. But on someone who's tanky like Man at Arms, what happens is you can just use food to heal him back up, so it's not as big of a deal. Right, so like here I have 4 more rounds of that bleed. I mean, this fight's over, but I'm still gonna do that just so that hopefully I can actually go finish the boss fight after this. That should be really cool if I can do a boss fight as well as a Shambler fight. I was actually planning on retreating or abandoning the mission after I finish this, but turns out for the better. Yeah, so being able to dodge the bleeds from the Shambler has definitely helped me in this fight. Otherwise, I would have taken a ton more damage. Right. And our Occultist will be able to heal us back up in other positions later on, but currently that's not happening, but that's alright. So this part is the one awkward part about my build. The Highwayman's actually not able to hit position 1, but the only things that he has for hitting position 1 is like the melee attacks, open bang and something else, but they're both melee attacks, so that doesn't really work well with the buckler, which has -% damage on melee skills. So we just have to settle for Grape Shot, which usually manages anyways. Alright, so let's see what Ancestors item we get. Cool, the map. That's the one Ancestors item I think that I don't have yet. Hopefully I can get dupes after that, because I really want a second Ancestors coat. Right, so managed to survive through that fight. I'm going to show you guys what the boss fight looks like after. Alright, so through a little bit of movie magic, we are now at the boss fight. As you can see, I suffered a little bit of stress on the way. No big deal. We're going to make sure the torch is up at full. Torch is full. The man at arms is going to eat the last 2 remaining pieces of food because he's a little hungry, and mainly because he gets the most benefit. Alternatively, I could have given it to the Hellion. That probably would have been just as good. But you want to give food to like the higher HP heroes just because they heal a little bit more for it. Alright, so here we have the Prophet. And so this setup, I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, and whether or not they're going to change this in the future, but in the current setup, what you can do is actually just stack the Weakening Curse on the Prophet, and after you get a couple stacks of it, when the rubble falls, it actually won't do as much damage as it's supposed to. So here once again, Helena in the front row, being able to use Iron Swan right on the Prophet. Since here I am going to get hit, I have the option to either dodge or defender. So we're going to use defender here. Alright, hopefully this doesn't do too much. Yeah, so you can see the damage is a little bit reduced because of the debuff. Great, targeting the man at arms is good for us because he's able to stack a lot of protect on himself. So our 2 main damage source is going to be the Highwayman and the Hellion, while the Occultist is just going to keep debuffing, trying to make it so that he no longer can do damage to us. And so at this point he should actually not do any more damage with his rubble because he's at -120%. Yeah, so no big deal. Or he's at -80%. Right, so that makes the fight a lot more manageable. We're getting pretty lucky with the rubble fall, so let's hope that keeps up. I'm just gonna stack bolster once again. The man at arms is not actually able to hit the Prophet, so there's not much else to do with him than to just bolster. Alright, so this is gonna do 6 damage, so not a big deal. Nice crit. We should be able to focus him down within the next couple rounds. So here, he already has 3 stacks. Even though one of the stacks doesn't go away, 80% damage reduction is not bad. So we're going to actually use artillery to try to focus him down a little bit faster. Right, so I think one more round should do it. Just for science, I'm actually going to protect the Hellion. I don't think it does anything, but I want to see if there's any if it's possible to have the Rebel fall on the Man-at-Arms instead. Oh wow, it does work. Okay, so when it's AoE, that protect doesn't actually work. But I guess if it's a single target, it's fine. So that works out pretty well. So once again, he's still at 2 stacks, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to finish him up. This should finish it. And so that's an easy way to set up for the Prophet. The MVP here is really just the Occultist having the ability to debuff him and stack the debuffs. If you have the trinket available, you should definitely use the Demon's Cauldron because it increases your debuff skill chance. And the Prophet and any of the bosses have a decent amount of debuff resist, so that'll make it much easier on you. Alright, cool. Hope that helps.